Hey, what's up, guys? It's Progressive Transformation in here, and today we're going to do a little video about my bench press technique, like I did last week on the deadlift. This one is going to be on the bench press, like I said already, and I'm going to touch on some key points of what I'm doing right and what I'm doing wrong. So other beginner lifters like me, high beginner, actually to low intermediate, can have a nice feeling for what they might also be doing wrongly, like I am in this clip. And keep in mind, guys, that the bench press is actually one of the exercises in which my technique is the best. So let's start with the basics. Like in every lift, we should first look out for the security. So let's start with the security check, in which I always do this because it's really basic and important for a movement. On the bench press, you want to check if you have the same weights on both sides. You need to make sure you have the safety clips on in order to make sure the weights don't come off the bar. You also want to have your bar centered in the middle of the bench, the middle of the station. Last thing you want to check is to always have a spotter when going near maximum effort reps. In the video I'm going to show you guys, I actually didn't have a spotter, but that was because I was doing 12 reps of a low weight for me, so I didn't really need a spotter. But if you guys are trying to break any kind of personal records, or going for near max 1 reps or strength based training, which is very high weight and low repetitions, you should for sure have a spotter in case anything can go wrongly. Before the lift, you also need to have some things in mind. When you lay on the bench, you want to have your highs directly under the barbell, which I always do also. You need to make sure you are keeping a retracted scapula. That is so you have a firm base while you're doing the press on the bench press. You also want to give your spine a slight arc. This also has a reason, but I covered it in another video, and this is just a form check, so I'm not going to explain it right now. You can check it out if you guys want. Jeff Nippard explains this very well, actually, if you also want to get that awesome source of information. And lastly, you want to plant your feet in the ground as far back as you comfortably can, probably with a slight outwards rotation in order to make sure you get your heels firmly planted in the ground too. And because you want your heels also planted in the ground, you will probably have to rotate your feet outward a little bit, but that depends on everyone's anatomy. I'm just saying for most people that will probably be the case. Also, the scapula, the head and the butt should all be touching the bench before the lift, and like I said previously, the feet should also be touching the ground, firmly planted in the ground. As for the grip, this is where I'm going to start experimenting a little bit. Generally, and up until a certain point, a wider grip would be equal to more strength potential. And since I've been going on to a narrower grip from now on, I will experiment with a wider grip in order to see if I can feel myself getting stronger with a wider grip, which will probably be the case. Never forget, though, that wrists should be stacked over the elbows, meaning that the wrists are right above the elbows. That is in order to minimize the risk of injury. But more advanced lifters won't always have the wrists perfectly stacked, and if I actually want to try and widen my grip, I won't be able to do that either. When you're going for a wider grip then and you won't have your wrists stacked above the elbows, you just need to make sure that you don't go over 1.5 times shoulder width in order to minimize injury and get maximal strength potential that you can without injuring yourself. And that's probably something I will be playing around with, going from 1 to 1.5 times shoulder width range, and seeing which one suits me best. And you guys should also do that for yourself, because everyone has a different anatomy, and different widths will probably sit best with different kinds of people. Now, just make sure that your wrists are stacked, and when I say wrist stacked, I mean that you should have your wrists directly below your knuckles. A good cue is thinking about punching the ceiling. Okay, don't hyperextend the wrist so that the weight is resting on the back of your fingers. Okay, that leaves you a great potential of injury on your wrists. That's a good thing for me to also consider, because I have not been doing this, and I can see that on my replay. And yeah, I just need to make a more conscious effort in order to leave my wrists stacked. Also, let's start talking about now the unracking of the bar. And for the unracking, you have one of two options. You can ask your spotter for to help you unracking and bring the bar up and out of the rack. I didn't do this one in this video because, like I said, I wasn't going near the maximal effort for me, so I just unracked myself. And unracking yourself, you just need to bring the bar up and out also, while having your hips off the bench, and basically just using your legs as leverage, and making pressure on your heels in order to more safely and easily take the bar out of the rack. After the unracking, you will go into the bracing phase, which is when you just have the bar and your arms are completely extended. In here you want to have a deep breath against your belly. I always do this, so it's an okay for me. And you want to grip the bar as hard as you can, maintaining tightness. I've been slacking off on this, which is something that leaves some strength potential on the table, because I am not maintaining rigidity and tightness on the torso, and that could leave some gains on the table, and I could probably lift a little bit more weight or do 1 or 2 more reps if I was implementing this, so I will try to look out for it. After the bracing phase, we also have the descent phase. While descending with the bar, you want to get your elbows down at a 45 angle relative to the torso. I am also not doing this, and I should, so I'm going to look out for it. In the descent, the descending bar path should also be down and forward. I try to have a more conscious effort while I'm doing the repetitions of this, but looking at my video, I can pretty much assure that I'm doing more of normal bar path, in which I'm just going up and down and not down and forward. So yeah, it's just like a line and not what I'm looking for in here. Also, you guys want to touch on your chest with a bar. I do this in order to make sure I'm not just using momentum while doing the chest press. I do a mini stop. I just tap a little bit the bar in my chest, and then I go up without using the momentum, in order to make sure I maintain the correct form while doing this. While doing the press, you want to also explode the bar off your chest. Really think of the acceleration of the motion in this step. I'm not doing this. I'm having more of a linear momentum during all the press. When I'm descending with the same speed I am ascending, and I will try to play a little bit with this concept of acceleration and deceleration in the bench press, and see how it feels for me. But yeah, I'm not doing this I'm not doing this as of now. Also, another point is to drive your heels into the ground while doing this. Think about pushing the ground away with your feet. This is the leg drive I was trying to explain a little bit earlier. I'm not doing this, I try to, but it just doesn't come naturally to me, so I will have to grind a little bit more at this. And leg drive is one of those things that actually leaves a lot of string potential on the table if you don't do it, because the times in which I do actually implement this, I can feel that my sticking points where I'm doing the last repetitions, and it's getting really tough. If I use a little bit of leg drive, I can squeeze out some more reps. And yeah, I don't usually do this because it doesn't come naturally, but I need to grind at it. Also, the ascending bar pad should be up and back. Like I said before, since I'm not doing the descent with down and forward bar path, I'm also not doing the ascending bar path up and back. I'm doing more of a line, not swaying at all. But yeah, I shouldn't actually do this. I will try to have a more conscious effort on my next repetitions. And lastly, while doing the press exhale, I can also do this when I completely lock out the bar. But for movement fluidity, I would probably enjoy it best if exhaling while doing the press instead of locking out first, so then I exhale and inhale consecutively. I actually do this. I have been trying to nail the breathing patterns on my workouts and exercises, and it's something I do a really big conscious effort. So yeah, this is actually something I've been doing correctly. And yeah, guys, is basically it. If there's something you guys can take off this video, technique wise, it's awesome for me. That's also why I'm doing these videos. And another key point I want to promote with these videos is actually you guys taking the time and effort to analyze yourself, and without any ego, being able to discern what you guys are doing right and wrong in order to improve rapidly in the shortest period of time. But yeah, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this week's episode, and peace out, guys.